We are moments away from big-time news in high school and college football.
The people want to know.
Where will you be playing college football in 2022?
I will be committing to the University of North Carolina.
Texas A&M.
National Signing Day. It's a momentous day on the calendar for every college football program.
I'll be taking my talents to the University of Alabama.
The best players in high school football will make one of the biggest decisions that will forever change their future.
What type of player and what type of person is Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide getting there?
First of all, they're getting a great person. He's a great kid, very coachable.
The premier players in the country will make their intentions known. It's a day where recruits put pen to paper, paper to facts. The traditional recruiting powerhouses will continue stockpiling elite talent, but will there be any last-minute changes of heart?
I think this is the biggest story in the recruiting world probably ever. Let's call it what it is. This is huge.
In 2021, college football changed forever. Players can now profit off their name, image, and likeness. And the coaching carousel has not only dominated the headlines, but has drastically shifted recruiting rankings.
We came here because we believe in what this place can be, and we plan on building the best roster in the country.
The moment these athletes have worked their entire lives for has arrived. The race towards the top signing class starts right now.
You're getting a winner. This kid is a beast.
We'll make his announcement live.
It's National Signing Day.
And National Signing Day rolling on here on CBS Sports HQ and the 24/7 Sports YouTube channel. Got an entire cast here in Fort Lauderdale, but we've also got several people that we love to talk to out there who are the actual reason that we're here today. And we've got commits that we've already had, and we've got commits still to come. But we've also got the Texas A&M Aggies now locked up with the #1 class in the 24/7 Sports team recruiting rankings. And look, let's go ahead and just add on to that #1 class of all time. And if you want to hear us talk about that, that's fine. We're going to do that all afternoon. But why not just bring in the head man himself? Jimbo Fisher is there in College Station. Coach, I don't know if you're aware of this. There's a graphic floating around here of you with a championship belt flung over your shoulder. So if you don't want that, you just give me an address and we'll send it to an assistant coach. It'd make a great wallet-sized photo. What has this day been like?
It's been a very good day. I mean, we added to our class, Shamar, tremendous player, tremendous young man, has size, speed, has all the measurables, but also he's a better person than he is player. He's a great young man to be around, and I think he can have a huge impact on our organization.
When you guys met as a staff, and this would have been months ago, but when you identified the key needs and the characteristics and the boxes that you wanted to check, what did you need to do in this class, and what do you feel like you accomplished?
I think we hit every need across the board. We had to have a quarterback. We had to have a running back. We had to have big play receivers. We had to have Listen, in our league, the lines of scrimmage on the offensive and defensive lines are huge. We think we addressed that. The secondary was big need. Linebackers, we got some couple of great linebackers in the class. You know, guys get affected. Your game changes. Guys get affected offensively, defensively, and we also got a great kicker. I think we got as good a kicker as there is in the country. I love him. And, we were across the board, and I think you have to today. And, with kids leaving, transfer portal, all that types of things, getting this class and getting every athlete across the board in every position was critical for us.
How important is it for you as you transition now to a program where the cupboard is a lot more stocked with talent than maybe it was when you first got there, at least the kind of players that you want on campus? How important is it for you to preach competition on the recruiting trail and get kids to buy into that concept before they get on campus?
It's better if you don't need to come here. And our biggest battles have to occur on that practice field. We have to be able to match whatever opponent we're playing with practice field competitiveness, and that's what we did. The great teams we had at Florida State, and I think we're starting to do that here a lot better. And I think that's why the future looks so bright. But you have to be willing to have a guy at your position or another position or guys around you that are just as good as you, because this is a team sport. You can't do this with 2 or 3 players like you can in basketball at times. You got to have great teams, but you got to have difference makers. But in football, you got to have it across the board, and that's one of the big things we preach is, if you want to be a champion and you want to have that competitiveness in practice and develop into it and, be the first to win that championship here, this is where you need to be.
Texas A&M head coach Jimbo Fisher. We'll get you out of here on this one, Coach. Everyone in our line of work's got an opinion about transfer portal, but they've also got an opinion about NIL. But you're there on the ground, and so you deal with it directly. How big an impact has it had on the sport? Where do you like it heading, and what do you think about where it's headed? And how did it impact the way that you guys are now going about things at Texas A&M?
Didn't affect recruiting at all. And our NIL, and I'll say this, and I'm going to address it in my press conference. This $30 million deal is a joke. This thing that there's some fund out there and all these things that went on, and it was written on Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread, and all of a sudden the country believes it, is a joke. So it didn't affect recruiting at all. And you can, and I will address the rest of it. And the people who want to, as I say, make comments on it have no idea what's going on. And it's insulting to the players who came here and the people around us. The transfer portal was a factor. And it's funny, all the guys who are complaining about this use the portal and all these things more than anybody else. All the coaches in our league are griping and across the country. It's amazing what goes on. But it is a factor. I think it affects high school kids. I think the portal is affecting junior college kids, and I think it's affecting high school kids, the guys that are signed, because guys are taking others, guys that are in college and things. But listen, rules are there. I don't know where it's going to go. We're in the first year of it. It's going to be interesting where things go. But obviously it's here to stay.
Look, what's the biggest misconception there to you, and how do you personally feel about where it is right now?
In what regards? Please explain.
So a lot of people, as you said, say a lot of different things about NIL, what is true, what isn't true, and there's a lot of perception out there, but yet you're there on the other side of the curtain, and so you can address it directly, and you have all of the inside knowledge of it. What is the biggest misconception out there relative to what actually is going on?
No funds or all these things that people were talking about in the high school kids for sure. Players in your team, they do get those things. We were one of the lower ones. I mean, if I remember right, it was Nick who brought up his quarterback got $1 million deal. I mean, and that was great. Ohio State put out an article that they had the highest NIL deals of anybody in the country, which is legal. It's all legal. It's fine. But that had nothing to do with this class or anything else in which it went on. This was hard work by our staff. And I say it's insulting to the kids who come here that you insinuate that. And people insinuate that if things were taken off a message board. Bro Bible by a guy named Sliced Bread, whoever the heck that is, who has no clue about what goes on. But NIL is here to stay in college football. It's going to be a factor in college football. There is no doubt in the future going forward. And so in the transfer portal. So it's here to stay. But those reports and the things that people say are very irresponsible. And then people need to figure out the truth before they do it. There's a lot of reputable people in this business who I really respect that copied that. There was a vice president of Notre Dame who even said that, who off a message board. Come on now. And what goes on, and people have no idea what's happening, and those things aren't true.
Texas A&M head coach Jimbo Fisher, hey, we appreciate you being direct and addressing it here because not everyone in your line of work actually will do that. So Texas A&M and Jimbo Fisher landing the top class in the country today. Coach, not only to you but your entire staff, congratulations. I know this was a long time coming, and we appreciate you joining us. All right, so obviously that gave us about 3 hours worth of content to talk about. Initial reaction and takeaways to what he just said.
Sliced bread will be a popular trending phrase on Twitter or something like that.
Sure.
Joey Freshwater comes to mind, something like that.
I had to Google it. It took a couple Googles, but I found what he was talking about.
Yeah, there will be a greatest thing, including sliced bread, that's out there somewhere. So anyone wants to run with that can run with it. But look, it's not the first time he's addressed this. He was just very direct today, now that the hay's in the barn and the class is all signed. It is funny how that happened, though. And that's kind of in your line of work. Think about this. When you've got a recruitment and it's extremely tight-lipped, in the absence of information, one person can say something and everyone in the industry runs with it. And all of a sudden, you got a kid that doesn't want to play in a 3-4 and no one's actually ever said that. And it's kind of been the same way here. A dollar figure gets floated out and all of a sudden everyone runs with it. And if you just tuned in, Jimbo Fisher vehemently disagreeing with that figure. I'm very interested to hear what he says at his presser today.
Yeah, it's an echo chamber. We see that in all levels of reporting these days here. And, one person says something and it runs with it, another person reports it, and it's unfortunate. Who knows really what sliced bread or who that individual is? But that's all I got on it.
It's obvious Coach Fisher was waiting for the question. And
yeah, I'm going to tell people we planned it, but we didn't. But, on the field, look, this class, I would have loved to have had him on for another hour because I would love to just run down this list and give him 20 seconds in which he would have taken 3 minutes each and just get his perspective on every one of these players. Because we were talking about it, we can go down the list again if you want, of just immediate standout. Boom, 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 that guy, that guy, that guy.
I think Anthony Lucas is a guy we haven't even mentioned, a defensive lineman in that epic defensive line group. Baseball player. He can do a variety of different things. It's such a special group. Anai White from the Philadelphia area, a long pass rusher. There's a reason why he's heated because he feels so good about this group and what his staff did. I mean, they worked hard for this. We mentioned relationships with Shamar Stewart. That was the difference down the stretch. I think Shamar actually just tweeted about that. He tweeted something in regards to it wasn't about money or anything like that. I think at the end of the day, it was relationships with him.
When you talk about the top 247 player rankings, our rankings, they have the #1 receiver and the #3 receiver nationally committed in Evan Stewart and Chris Marshall. That's as big a need as Texas A&M had in this class, so they went out and really addressed that one. And those guys are as exciting as there is in catching the football and making plays.
You know what's also interesting is, James Coley is the tight ends coach there, and he's our #6 recruiter overall nationally, but he doesn't even take the top spot on his own staff because Elijah Robinson is now the 24/7 Sports Recruiter of the Year, responsible for 8 guys in his own right. He's the defensive tackle coach there. What a haul he's had. What a cycle he's had.
Yeah, we have a story coming on that later today, but he's a man of the people. There's no element that Elijah Robinson's not comfortable in, whether that's sitting and having a bourbon and a cigar with Walter Nolan's dad or talking cryptocurrency with Anthony Lucas's mom. I mean, he is a guy that can fit in any environment, and he obviously had a fantastic year on the trail, helping A&M land 8 of these blue chippers this cycle.
So a lot of Texas A&M there, a lot to talk about there. Jimbo Fisher gave us, and we will chop it up again and several times more throughout the day. But when we come back, we will talk about those ACC superlatives. Going to bring Cooper Pategna in to join us. Stay with us. National Signing Day rolls on.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.